Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, if any of you guys watched the VMAs recently, you definitely know exactly who we're talking about because she was the diva at the VMAs. No, I'm not talking about Sabrina Carbonaro, though I loved her performance, but that performance combined with her recent absolute dominance takeover, Tate Mcrae. I really want to talk about Tate Mcrae because I think she's such an interesting artist from an artistic perspective, but also really, really from a marketing perspective, and I want to talk about that as well. But it's a really great time for this video as well because earlier today she announced a single Tit for Tat coming out soon. So I figured we could talk about Tate McRae in all senses chronologically and what I think of her most recent album, and then we can kind of do some speculation on the new single. So if you guys are new to this channel, I make a lot of different kinds of videos, but a lot of them are about music. So if you like this video, definitely like and subscribe. But let's talk about the diva herself. So as most of you guys probably know, Tate McRae, born and raised Canadian, started dancing when she was younger, and that's kind of how she came into the public eye. She did a lot of different kinds of dance competitions, which landed her on huge stages. When she was younger, she performed with Justin Bieber, and she also performed on Ellen. Again, these are way, way before her pop career. She also started YouTube around 2011 and mostly did professional dance on there. So that's a lot of where her background comes from, and I think it's really interesting because she takes this pop pivot and she really doesn't combine the two completely until her most recent album. So she was also the first Canadian finalist. She was also the first Canadian finalist on So You Think You Can Dance in 2016, which I think is just a little fun fact. But so she releases one day on her YouTube account, and this is her first single ever, the first song she releases, and she ends up signing to RCA Records for two EPs. Now I'll be honest, I kind of glazed through these, but they felt very immature, as many early on EPs do. They're very short, just a collection of a couple singles, but overall, the vibe I got from these were very much like early Tate. It very much felt like she was a child when she was writing these, which she was. And I think that makes it hard to listen to for a couple different reasons. Number one, the vocals just aren't anywhere near as developed as I think a quality pop song should be, but also the content is very algorithmic. It's very follow a trend follower, if you will, as opposed to kind of creating your own artistic vibe. That being said, one of the main songs that came off these EPs was You Broke Me First. If you know Tate, you probably know the song, which peaked within the top 10 of the Canadian Top 100 and the top 20 within the US Billboard Hot 100, which is absolutely insane for a song on her second EP. So this is on Too Young to Be Sad from 2021. I think I don't know. I just think it's really interesting that she was able to break through this barrier so soon. But this single is going to speak to Tate's continuing problem that I think she's finally broken through. And that's that she is very easily perceived as a singles artist. What do I mean by that? I think You Broke Me First went absolutely viral on TikTok. I think a lot of people know that song. But even to this day, I think a lot of people might be surprised to know that that person who wrote that is Tate McRae. And the Tate McRae they know now, the Tate McRae they know from So Close to What, is the girl who wrote that song because the marketing for the song just wasn't there. And the artist behind the song wasn't interesting to the listener. It was, once again, quite algorithmic. And I think the lyrics really resonated with people, but the production didn't really give off a certain stylistic quality that made you want to listen for more, that made you want to grab more from this person. It very much felt like something that a lot of different pop artists could have released and nailed, essentially. So I think this is an issue that Tate has kind of struggled with throughout her career, and You Broke Me First was definitely the beginning of that because, again, it went super viral. It's a great song, but I don't think it made people wonder who was behind the song. So now that we're done with her EPs, I kind of want to slow down when we're talking about her albums and talk about each three independently. So her debut studio album is called I Used to Think I Could Fly. I was listening to this album because quite honestly, I wasn't super familiar with it. I'm definitely a newer Tate fan. I liked it, but I think it struggles with the same issues that she has with her EPs in the sense that there's no individuality. And I feel like it's quite cliche or superficial, and I feel like the genre isn't very cohesive. There are definitely some standout tracks on here. One I wanted to point out was What Would You Do? I felt like that was very Olivia Rodrigo sour-esque kind of catchy pop that definitely stuck out. But I do think this entire album as an artistic work does struggle with what I've been talking about this whole video, which is the lack of individuality and the lack of style, making the listener question who is behind this. Now, there were definitely Tate stans at this point, but I think the reason that we have so many now that weren't there then is because she wasn't really putting herself into this. It felt like she was trying to fit a mold kind of put out there by the pop music industry. And you can definitely see that when you're looking through her music videos. I think Kate really stands out as a visual artist in an era that's kind of devoid of visual direction in a lot of different albums. But this album specifically, you can definitely see looking in retrospect that it seems like she very much is trying to fit a mold. So if we come over to this What Would You Do music video, if you watch this now, again, in retrospect, it definitely feels like a very different version of Tate. Obviously, she's playing a character. That's how all music videos are. But I feel like we're used to a very different version of her at this point. And it feels like she's very unsure of what she's trying to achieve with this. We're definitely getting some of the dancing skills that we've come to know and love from her. But we're also getting a lot of, I think, it's aspiring to be certain pop artists so hard that I'm not getting who Tate is. I'm getting someone trying to be Britney Spears, someone trying to be Fergie. And I think this is something that has held her back throughout her entire career. Overall, this album was definitely interesting, and I think we get some hits on it, like I was just saying. Like, again, for example, She's All I Want to Be. That's a huge song that still is popular today, written by Tate, that people think it's funny because it's like everyone wants to be Tate McRae, but she wrote this song. But again, I do think we're missing the Tate vibe, and we're also missing an individual style at its core. I think a lot of these songs could have been written by anyone, and that was the issue people were having with this album. I'd love to pivot over to Think Later. So Think Later comes in 2023, and I feel like this was definitely a huge breakthrough moment for Tate. I will start with the fact that I really don't love the album art. I don't think it tells a story, and I think that is the intrinsic problem with this album. It has it has very compelling songs, but in total, I think the intent behind the album is a little bit unclear. That being said, it's much more cohesive than her albums have been before, but I think we could get even more cohesive with it. Now, obviously, if you know Tate, you know her song Greedy. This is one of her biggest songs. I believe it's surpassed over 1 billion streams at this point. And this is definitely the first time we get a little bit of a sense of who Tate really is. And it feels like she is showing us who she is. She's not trying to be someone else within the pop sphere. A lot of great other songs. I love Run for the Hills. The production on that is really fun. Think Later as well is definitely a bad girl party-esque song that I think everyone can listen to while they're getting ready to go out. Guilty Conscience as well. Love the production on the song. I think, again, some of the issues with this album, number one, we have a lot of really short songs under 3 minutes, which is... We have a lot of really short songs under 3 minutes, which I definitely think is a weakness on this album. And I also think another kind of song that Tate does struggle with is writing a pop ballad that is listenable. That sounds really mean. I think Tate struggles with writing a pop ballad that comes across the way she wants it to. I think a lot of the times it can sound very dreary and a bit boring. And I think when she puts more of an upbeat tempo on it, it can end up sounding much more like a bad girl anthem, even though if you really dig into the lyrics, it is perhaps not the happiest song. I mean, you can even say Run for the Hills, for example, not the happiest theme, but the beat behind the song could lead a lot of people to feel like it's not truly a pop ballad. Despite that, Tate definitely does try to write a lot of pop ballads. Personally, I just don't love them from her. I haven't had her deliver me any that have really stuck with me. I think she really excels in other categories. That being said, I think she's definitely capable of it. Think Later, especially in the visual department, when we go back to her music videos, is also an area where she succeeds. Again, we're talking about Greedy, we're talking about Exes, of course. These two songs were huge for her. We're definitely starting to get more of a cohesive visual behind these. And people are definitely starting to know Tate for Tate McRae. They're not listening to Tate because they like a specific song. They're listening to Tate because they love their favorite artist, Tate McRae. She's getting to be known to be a dancer. She's not just getting to be known to be someone who's trying to be a pop star. So she's definitely serving looks in this video, of course. I mean, Tate's always serving looks. But she's really getting into her bag, which is where So Close to What really ends up excelling. So, you look at the Greedy video, and I definitely think we're getting a taste of what's to come with her next era, which is So Close to What. So Close to What came out this year and is definitely Tate's biggest album to date. Um, it features all kinds of really amazing songs. I'm sure you guys have heard it already. A Sports Car has been absolutely everywhere. Revolving Door, Miss Possessive, one of my personal favorites. I love Sydney Sweeney on this one. I think we still are suffering a little bit from the songs being a bit short for the most part, and we definitely still do have some algorithm pop. I think I Know Love is one of the most algorithm pop songs I've heard in a while. I really do not love that song. Um, but then you get really great songs. Again, like I was mentioning before, I like Greenlight a lot, and I think that's a good example of Tate evolving as a lyricist and a writer because that song is kind of a pop ballad, and I think she delivers it so well, but it's not overwhelmed with production to the point where it doesn't feel like a pop ballad. And I will say that's one thing that Tate Mcrae does amazingly is she has a lot of ambition and she definitely knows how to take notes and come back with something better because I don't think at this point we've received a Tate album that was worse than the previous one. In fact, most of them feel like a huge step forward for her. And this is definitely where she starts coming into her own as well. I think after Think Later, people definitely had Tate on their mind, but this album has cemented her, especially across this year, as an artist, not only to be known, but to be feared in the pop sphere. She is someone who could definitely take the pop world by storm. You can tell this by her music videos as well. If we look at It's Okay, I'm Okay, the song is okay, but the music video absolutely eats the house down. It is so good, and it is Tate really cementing herself as that bad girl. She is able to deliver the new age of Britney Spears, Fergie, all of these amazing people that I was mentioning earlier, but also have her own spin on it. Again, people say she's the new Britney Spears. You definitely see the inspiration coming through here, but I also think she's giving her own spin to it. And the key to this album and Think Later is that she's really leaning into herself, especially as a dancer. A lot of these songs are dance music, which not only sounds great, I mean, everyone loves listening to it, but it makes for an absolutely amazing concert that everyone wants to go to. I'm going to Tate next month. I am so excited about it because she knows how to deliver a performance. And a lot of artists don't know how to do that. I'm looking at you, Lana Del Rey. So, you look through her So Close to What music videos. I think the standout song for me from the beginning has been Sports Car. It is the song. I love Sports Car. I think the production is so interesting and so new, is really delivering something that we've been lacking in the pop sphere, which once again is someone absolutely serving every single song. Bad Bitch, CUNT, you guys already know. And every single song on this album is giving that a little bit. Like Tate McRae is the person that everyone wants to be right now. And that being said, I'm super excited to see where she goes from now because I think she's been on this incline ever since she's released her first album of getting better, taking notes and making her craft more herself. And it feels like she's really delivering us Tate McRae right now. She's not delivering us pop songs that she wants to go viral. She's delivering us what she intrinsically wants to be delivering. That being said, what I'd love to see from Tate McRae after this tour is honestly, I'd love to see her take a break. And that might sound counterintuitive to all the praise I've been giving her, but I think So Close to What is very close to being an amazing album. I don't think it's quite there yet. I think the theme around this album, especially when it comes to the lyrics, is extremely unclear to me. And I'd love to see Tate take some time away, collect some experiences, learn some things and come back with an absolutely bulletproof pop album. I think she can absolutely do it. I think she's really close to it. If we get a song full of freaking sports cars and greedies, I think we would definitely be there. But unfortunately, I don't think So Close to What is exactly where it needs to be to become that bulletproof pop album. Fortunately, though, Tate McRae at the very young age of 22 absolutely has the time to deliver us something bulletproof and something even better than that. With an album this good, so young in her career, I think she has the capacity to do so, but I do think she needs to slow down and be able to really work through and massage certain songs and certain ideas. So that being said, her upcoming single Tit for Tat, first of all, she's absolutely eating it up. Of course, in the visual photo that she dropped, I think we're honestly going to be getting a sports car part two because of the absolute takeoff of sports car. I would expect something like that, especially with Just Keep Watching, which came out for the F1 movie, which was very similar in theming to sports car. She's really leaning into that sexy bad girl kind of thing. And so I think we're definitely going to be getting more of that, especially with the name of the song being a little bit more provocative. So that being said, Tate McRae is definitely one of my favorite artists out there right now. I'm really excited to see what she has to do, especially in terms of new artists. She's got so much room to grow and she's already on such a great path. I'm really excited to see what she comes out with next. I'm so excited to see her next month, and I'll definitely be tuning in for a single coming up. What do you guys think about Tate McRae, though? Definitely let me know in the comments if I missed anything. If you guys have any songs that I didn't mention that I should give a listen to, definitely let me know. And let me know what you guys think her new single is going to sound like. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.